But let's start with what is happening in the state of Israel, where the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu is in the spotlight, and it is not about the war that he's currently waging in the Gaza Strip or Lebanon or in Syria that we're talking about. This has got to do with the serious charges of corruption that he currently faces, and he's on trial for it. In fact, Benjamin Netanyahu arrived in court earlier in the day to testify for the very first time in his corruption case. Now, Netanyahu is in fact the first sitting Prime Minister of the State of Israel to take the stand as a criminal defendant in a case of serious corruption. Netanyahu faces charges of bribery, fraud and breach of public trust in 3 separate cases. Now, other hearing, the Israeli Premier will have to respond to the allegations and the testimonies that have been made against him, including from former close aides of his. Now, he's repeatedly sought to try and delay his own testimony in the court, but there was no further chance of him delaying his testimony. And the last time he had to physically appear in the court was in June 2023. However, ahead of the trial, Netanyahu at a press conference said that he was actually not running away from law, but he will speak the truth in the court. And he also said that it's been 8 years that he's been waiting for this day to present his side of the truth in the case of fraud that he faces. Now, the trial has been moved from Jerusalem to Tel Aviv for security reasons, where Netanyahu will testify in an underground chamber. So what is this case about? Now, in the first case, Netanyahu and his wife Sarah Netanyahu are accused of accepting more than $260,000 worth of luxury goods, stuff such as cigars, jewelry and champagne from billionaire donors in exchange for political favors. Now, the second case involves alleged attempts by the Prime Minister to reach a deal with a publisher of a very popular Israeli newspaper for better coverage by agreeing to weaken the status of a rival daily newspaper. Now, the third case alleges that Netanyahu had received some favorable coverage on a popular news website owned by his close friend in exchange for smoothing the way out for a telecoms merger that was sought by him. Now, hundreds of protesters and onlookers gathered outside of the Tel Aviv courthouse where Netanyahu took the witness stand. Many chanted for Netanyahu to be brought to justice. But there were also his supporters who called the allegations as completely false and politically motivated.
We are here today to support the judicial system, the trial that is being conducted against a dictator in the making, against a prime minister who sacrifices hostages, a prime minister who has taken us all hostage for his own personal interest, and is trying to harm Israeli democracy in order to continue his rule.
These false allegations were the basis on which the left has expected to remove Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and remove the right from power.
Now, India's winter parliament session is turning out to be an action-packed one. As the ruling and the opposition coalition tussle over several issues, now here are some of the top developments from the parliament session today. Now, the opposition India bloc has submitted a no-confidence motion against Vice President and Rajya Sabha Chairman Jagdeep Dhankar. This, of course, is the first time in the Indian Parliament's history that a motion of no confidence has been tabled against the Vice President and the Chairman of the Upper House of India's Parliament. Now, the opposition parties have accused the BJP leader of being a highly partisan individual in his conduct of affairs in the Council of States. Now, the BJP-led government has in fact called its opposition as a diversionary tactic. And amidst the disruptions in the parliament, reports of course indicate that the ruling coalition will table the bill for one nation, one election in the ongoing session. The bill, which aims for simultaneous polls in the country across all levels within the next 100 days. The ruling party is batting for one nation, one election, saying that it will reduce time, money and resources that are spent on elections across India. However, the opposition has argued that electoral process overhaul is undemocratic, it is unconstitutional and it is downright impractical. Now, day 12 of the parliament session ended with the Rajya Sabha being adjourned again. This after an uproar and a tussle between the ruling and the opposition alliance lawmakers in the upper house. The leaders clashed over the counter allegations of party allegiances, with George Soros and Gautam Adani respectively. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.